Hi everyone, welcome back to the Colleges 9 and 10 YouTube channel, and thanks for stopping by. This video is going to be a November bullet journal plan with me holiday edition plus some finals advice. So first off, hi, my name's Megan. I am a college programs assistant, aka a CPA. I am a fourth year environmental studies and business management econ major, and yeah, let's get started. So here I'm setting up my December cover page. A cover page is just something that looks pretty, that separates the different months or the different sections in your bullet journal. So for this month's theme, I wanted to go for an icy blue snowflake, snowy theme for my cover page. So that's what I'm doing here. So I wanted to kick off the whole finals talk, kind of discussing and telling y'all how I prep for finals. So first things first, step one is figure out when the final is. I'll be honest, I didn't do that until about 3 days ago, but that's fine. So based off of that, I work backwards and see what assignments I have on like week 10 or week 9 that are due to see how much time I have to study for each of my exams. Then after that, I try to allocate at least 3 study sessions for each final if possible. The first session will be where I take a look at the course overview or look at stuff on the syllabus to see what topics I remember well. And my second study session is going to be reviewing what I'm not as strong on. And my third study session, and hopefully the fourth, fifth, if I have time, will be doing that same thing over and over again to see if I can fill in those gaps in my knowledge. So moving right along, I'm now working on my calendar spread, which I title as like name of month at a glance. It's just something for me to look at, and if I know any assignments or special things coming up early in the month, I can write them down so I can keep track of them as the month goes on. So anyway, if y'all follow our Instagram, which if you don't, you should, linked in the description, one of the questions that I got when I was doing a takeover about finals came from someone asking, how heavily should I rely on the curve? I don't know, this might be a hot take, but I say study and take all your exams like there are no curves. Y'all can fight me on that in the comments if you want. So here I'm working on my habit trackers. The basic format of a habit tracker is some type of calendar, and every calendar corresponds to a specific habit that you'll be tracking throughout the month. So here you can see me lining up every single calendar, and I'll be tracking 4 things for the month of December. And I think we're going with working out, reaching out to family, eating well, and journaling. Because even though I love journaling and I love making things look pretty, I'm not super consistent with it depending on how busy the work week is for me. And as for the visual theme, I was going for a redwood forest, kind of holiday-ish green trees. It really reminds me of Santa Cruz more than the holidays, but I think that's kind of cool in a way. So as we're just doing the visual part of this spread right now, I wanted to shout out a tip that we got in our Instagram takeover day from my fellow PA, CPA, Cam, who wanted to tell everyone, take advantage of tutoring if you can. If you're struggling or just want extra clarification on anything in your classes, it's always a great idea to go to tutoring. If MSI has study sessions, if LSS is available, if your professors or TAs are holding study sessions or extended office hours, those are always really great places to get help as well. Alright, so here you can see I'm working on this thing that I call a brain dump, and I'm actually making, I think, 4 of these pages, so that'll give me a lot of time to just talk about kind of the final strategies and some of the questions that y'all had. So first off, what are these pages? A brain dump page is just, it's kind of exactly what it sounds like. If you have things that you're thinking about or things that you think you're going to forget and you just need to get them down somewhere, this is where you'd put them down. I find that I like having designated spaces for each specific type of information that I would have. So I usually have a page for miscellaneous stuff, a page for school stuff, a page for work stuff, and a page for clubs and extracurriculars. So you can see that this page in particular is about school stuff. So as all of these pages are the same concept-wise, it's just the visual content that kind of changes. I wanted to kind of focus in on some of the questions y'all had. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the questions that we had can really be summed up in terms of self-care during finals, which is something that's super important that I think not a lot of people consciously act upon, perhaps. A lot of times we get stuck into this idea that we just have to study, which is fair. Finals are hard. There's a lot of content and we should be studying, but when it comes to long study sessions without breaks, that's how you get burnt out, and that's when you start seeing your performance slip. So I really only have a couple tips as it relates to self-care during finals or big exams, but I find that they're really effective. So first one is one that I think all of us should be doing all the time, which is just making sure you're getting enough sleep. I feel like this is especially important for students who are not in California, or at least not in the Pacific time zone. And yeah, I really don't understand that how some instructors aren't making accommodations for students who are in different time zones or in different countries. So props to y'all for getting through this quarter. It's super tough, I'm sure. So my second tip is, while you're in study sessions, you should probably schedule in time, or at least anticipate that you're not going to be productive the entire time. This is something that I've learned over the years. I love to just set aside 4-hour blocks, 6-hour blocks where I tell myself I'm just going to sit down and study the entire time. We all know that doesn't happen. That just is not going to happen, at least not for someone like me. I get distracted. I use my phone way too much. I'm on Instagram way too much. So if I can take that into account, I feel like I can do a lot more studying than I would have otherwise, because if I set aside a 6-hour block and that turns into 3 hours, I can maybe trick myself into setting up an 8-hour block and then that turns into 4. You know, we win some, we lose some. And the last main tip I have is, while you're in these 6 to 8 to maybe just 1 to 2 hour study sessions, it might be a good idea to set alarms while you study to remind yourself to get up, go for a walk. Going outside, especially during Rona time, is probably one of the most effective ways to kind of reset so you don't burn out so often, or as hard, I suppose. But yeah, also give yourself reminders to eat things, to go drink some water. I think a lot of us can get into a very focused spot and forget to eat. I've done this sometimes. I have a lot of friends that do this, but yeah. So here I'm setting up my first calendar spread for the month of December. It's not really a full calendar spread, it's just a calendar spread for the first kind of half week. And this here with the 8 squares or rectangles is where like the first full week of December will live. So, I've talked a lot about studies tips and things that you could or should do in preparation for a final, but I wanted to share one thing that I really, really advocate that no one do, like, ever. And the one thing you should not ever do is cram. It stresses me out. I'm not sure if it stresses y'all out more, because I feel like when I try to cram, I force myself to realize all the stuff that I might not remember, which is way more stressful. Maybe I enjoy the ignorance of not knowing what I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I think a lot of people could benefit from just right before an exam, just taking a break, not looking at notes, giving yourself 30 minutes to just decompress. Hopefully you had enough time to put in the work before 30 minutes right before the exam, so you can take a little bit of time to de-stress, get yourself into the mental position of I'm going to take an exam, but I want to be relaxed while I take an exam. So making a cup of tea, going for a walk, like I said earlier, watching some YouTube videos, just something to give yourself a little bit of breathing room. So now we've arrived at the end of the video. So now we're doing a little flip through. Here is my December cover page, as you saw earlier. This is my at a glance calendar for the month of December with our snowman friend there. Next up is my 4 habit trackers and my first brain dump page. And then up next we have flip, my other 2 brain dump pages. I didn't talk about the visual themes of these that much, but the one on the left is for my normal work, red ornaments, and the one on the right is for clubs, which has those really cute presents in the bottom. And then here is my last brain dump page for just miscellaneous stuff, and then my weekly spread for the first 5 days of December, and then for the grand finale, my full week spread for the first full week of December. So I hope y'all enjoyed watching me, hopefully planning with me for the month of December. I hope y'all learned something, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next time.